Northern Cape Premier Zamani Saul is being described as a breath of fresh air. He's making it clear there will be no blue lights for his MECs and no new cars. The money will instead be used to buy new ambulances for the province. Let's get more on that story now from Govan Whittles, who joins us now. Now, Govan, you've spent the day in Kimberley trying to catch up with the Premier, and in keeping with this breath of fresh air and thinking outside of the box, he didn't really want to make a big fuss about the fact that they were going to be introducing the 27 of those 63 new ambulances, and off he went to meet people who had been waiting far too long in the day hospital there.
Indeed, Marcel, and he actually visited the tertiary hospital because it's the only one of its kind here in the province. And when people from as far as Namakwaland and Da'ar want to come and see a specialist, they have to travel to Kimberley. And there was a shortage of patient transport vehicles. So some of these 27 ambulances, some of them are ambulances, others are patient transport vehicles, and they're part of the first batch of 63 which they aim to deliver within this financial year. So this money, of course, comes from the refusal by Premier Zamani Saul to buy new cars for the MECs, and also some of the reallocation from things such as blue light protection. And he said, of course, that he wouldn't have the photos of the different MECs and himself as Premier hanging in the government buildings. But his main commitment that he has made, which he says will bring about change in the Northern Cape, is his commitment to sell the house of the Premier, donate the money to the bursary fund, and then identify non-core assets, as he calls it, in the province. These are buildings which are owned by the province, and sell those off as well. He says that the government here in the Northern Cape owes its municipalities close to R1 billion in rates and taxes from these buildings, which he describes as white elephants. So these are some of the commitments that the Premier has made, and he says he has all the support he needs from his MECs.
Now, this is a province that's the biggest in the country, but we also know it's a province that is struggling in terms of employment, and there are a number of people living in abject poverty. So the Premier is definitely wanting to put his best foot forward, and by the sounds of it wants to roll up his sleeves and get involved. I read somewhere that he even wants an office in a couple of the hospitals there so that he can keep tabs on how things are going. What has been the reaction to some of the things that he has already started making happen, even though he's just been in office for a couple of weeks?
Well, his approach has been broadly welcomed, and so has some of the efforts that he's already taken. In fact, he plans to set up that office at the Robert Mangaliso Sobukwe Tertiary Hospital, and says that he hopes at least 2 times a week to get feedback from the people that are not only waiting in line, but also some of the staff. But you mentioned the state of abject poverty in some of the towns of the Northern Cape, and the unemployment rate of around 27%. It's really up to the municipalities in these areas to deliver the services to these people, basic services which should be free in some regards. And to talk more about that, I am joined now by the Cooperative Governance MEC for the Northern Cape, Mr. Bentley Vass. Mr. Vass, you're an MEC that's returning to government. You served as Cooperative Governance MEC under Sylvia Lucas, the previous Premier. Let's begin with your comparison. What do you make of Zamani Saul's first 3 weeks in office?
Thank you very much. It's a new administration. I can say that we have a proactive Premier, and all of us have the responsibility to focus in terms of the task ahead. We are from elections. The people of the Northern Cape are clear to say that we need to speed up change, we need to do things faster, we need to do things better, and we need to do things to the best of our ability.
What was your reaction when you found out you wouldn't be getting a new car, no blue light protection, and also no photos in the office?
No, I think we agree with the Premier that it's about social distance. We, as politicians, sometimes we move too far from our people, and we have to reconnect with our people to make sure that we address the challenges facing our communities. We are living in a province with high poverty, unemployment, and our communities are really struggling. So we need to take our efforts and our resources and change the lives of our people for the better.
Beyond the MECs repairing the social distance, there's also an issue with the councillors at a municipal level not being close to the people, and of course the vacant posts. So what are you going to do in that regard, because that isn't essentially what you're in charge of?
Yeah, we have to prioritize the filling of senior vacancies at all municipalities. We are struggling with positions like your CFOs, financial capabilities experts, and technical experts. But that's why, from the side of the department, we are in agreement with MISA to make sure that they support us and the municipalities to render technical service to our communities, so that to enable them to speed up the spending on the migrant, so that at least we can fast track service delivery in terms of infrastructural development.
What is your message to those people living in these municipalities that have not received the services, that are looking towards the new premier for better services in the future?
This is a new administration. We are going to act. Municipalities, councillors, mayors who are not connected to the people will act as this administration. For us, it's important that at least our public representatives should communicate to our people. They should not have a situation where people should read in the papers about things. There should be proper consultation in terms of decisions that council is taking, because it's about communication. We don't need arrogant public representatives. We need people who can work with the people, because they are elected by the people, and we have the responsibility to work for the people.
Lastly then, how do you manage the situation where you have two whites-only enclaves, Orania and Eureka, that have now popped up in the Northern Cape as cooperative governance MEC, with someone who has a responsibility to render services to all communities? How have you approached that situation, and what is the current reality?
We are committed as this government to render service to all of our people in the Northern Cape, irrespective of race, color, of political affiliation. I think our responsibility is to make sure that people are happy, people have effective and quality services, and our people are proud of the government who's serving them. For us, as this administration, we will make sure that we'll render services to the people of Orania, we'll render services to other parts of the Northern Cape, because we will make sure at the end of the day that the services and the money of government will be spent correctly and wisely to all.
But you're now rendering services to a community which refuses to allow anyone but white people into that area. What are you able to do as the cooperative governance MEC to change that?
We don't agree with the racist tendencies. From us, from the side of the department and from the government, led by President Cyril Ramaphosa, we are clear to say that we need all of our people. We need all black and white to work together and to change South Africa for the better. We have a plan in terms of our national development plan to make sure that at the end of the day that our people should be happy by the services rendered by this government.
So is the goal that Orania does not exist anymore?
No, Orania is there, and we want to work with them. We have a relationship with the people of Orania, and we want to make sure at least that we work together and they work with us as a government.
Thank you so much. That's the Cooperative Governance MEC, Bentley Vass, returning to his position as MEC under the leadership of Dr. Zamani Saul, the new Premier. Well, you see, Dr. Zamani Saul earlier said that he has the buy-in from the MECs, and it would seem that this is the case. MEC Vass certainly saying that he's happy with the new approach, and saying that they have a few key priority areas in these municipalities where they're struggling to fill positions and render quality services.